welcome to Tar Heel Teachers at Home. I'm Marlow Artist. I'm the moderator of the program and proud principal of Craven Early College High School in New Bern. Tar Heel Teachers at Home is an interview series focused on engaging North Carolinians in conversations around education. Each episode, I'm happily joined by a wonderful panel of educators, each one representing a particular subsection of education. We'll start our introductions with our elementary school co-host.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ashley Falconberry. I am the 2023 Southeast Regional Principal of the Year for North Carolina, and I currently serve as the principal at Trent Park Elementary School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Robbins. I am the assistant principal at Southview Middle School in Cumberland County.
Hello, my name is Tanya Smith. I'm the 2020 Burroughs Welcome Fund Piedmont Triad Teacher of the Year, and I'm a vocal music educator at Elkin High School and Elkin Middle School.
Good evening. My name is Arisha Smalls. I'm the AIG Program Coordinator for Cumberland County Schools, and you can follow me on Twitter at SmallsArisha.
Fantastic. We have a wonderful panel, and we certainly have a wonderful guest. For this episode of Tar Heel Teachers at Home, we are chatting with Dr. Jennifer Hefner, who has served as superintendent of Alexander County Schools since August 2014, 10 years in the superintendent's chair. Dr. Hefner is retiring after 35 plus years with Alexander County Schools. Dr. Hefner, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Artist. It's great to be here.
We're so excited to have you here and to be able to talk about your illustrious career. We'll start with a little background information about your school system. Dr. Hefner, how would you describe Alexander County Schools to individuals who haven't had an opportunity to visit your district?
We're a small rural school system. We have about 4,300 students. We serve a preschool program within the educational system here. So we are pre-K through early college. And we are located in the foothills of North Carolina.
Fantastic. And I, as an early college principal, appreciate your hard work. I know you were very instrumental in Alexander Early College starting in 2016. That's one of the things that you've been able to do since being named superintendent. So tell us, Dr. Hefner, how did you get to the superintendent's chair? Kind of give us an overview of your career, because you began as a teacher assistant and bus driver, and then you worked your way up. So tell us about it.
Well, actually, Dr. Artist, I have ties even deeper than professionally. I am a 1986 graduate of Alexander Central High School and started working in the school system in 1988. As you said, I had a bus driver's license. And I have jokingly said over the years that that's probably what landed me the job, is that I already had that bus license, but I did start as a teacher assistant and bus driver. Then I worked to finish a degree at Catawba Valley Community College and then transferred to Lenore-Rhine. When I was able to finish that degree while working full time, I then became a sixth grade math teacher. After that, I became an assistant principal. Then I served in the principalship for 9 years. I transitioned to the central office in 2009 as the director of elementary curriculum, Title I, and K-12 student services. I have also served as the associate superintendent. And as you said, the past 10 years, I have served as the superintendent in Alexander County.
That's fantastic. One of our longest serving superintendents in our state, and also someone who has that level of credibility because you've worked your way up and you've had different experiences and so much that we can learn from you. And we're excited to celebrate the tremendous work that has happened in Alexander County under your leadership. What questions do we have for Dr. Hefner?
I have a
Hi,
question.
Dr. Hefner. Well, I read in some of the information prior to this interview that there were 26, I believe 26 superintendents who are retiring this past school year. And I'm only halfway there. So retirement is not even on my radar just yet. But what does it take to have longevity in this field, especially since we have so many teachers beginning but not finishing here?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that has helped as far as my longevity is that I have filled many roles. I will tell you openly that the role I enjoyed the most was the role of being a principal. Those were probably the best days of my professional career as far as just an overall fulfillment and happiness. And sometimes my coworkers here at the central office, they don't like to hear that. They want me to say that my most fulfilling job has been the superintendent, being superintendent. But the reason that being the principal was so fulfilling for me is because I was able to be around children every day. And I find something just refreshing, even healing. I lost a parent while I was serving in the principalship, and I remember being out for about 3 days, and then I had to get back to school. I was afraid that it might close without me. That's being a little bit arrogant, I think, but I just remember that first day I was getting ready to go out on car duty. And I was feeling very sorry for myself because at 34 years old, I just had the blues a little bit, just losing my father. And I heard the front door of the office open, and then I heard little feet pattering down my hallway. And three children brought me a flower and a card to say that they were sorry. And do you know that those three children were abandoned by their mother when they were just babies? And I thought to myself, you know what, Jennifer, you were able to have your dad for 34 years. Their mom left them when they were just babies. You pick yourself up, you quit feeling sorry for yourself. You're so very blessed. Get out there on car duty and do what you need to do. And there was just something about those three children that morning coming and bringing me a gift when in my opinion their circumstances were more challenging than mine had been. And it was just such a blessing. So I loved being around the children every day, but I also enjoy working with adults and leading professional development and things like that. And you get to do all of those things in a principalship. So if ever I were given an opportunity to go back into one, I would certainly entertain the idea.
Well, nobody gets as far in their career as you have without a little bit of self-care, because I know the weight of the job is sometimes heavy. So what types of things do you do to take care of yourself? And you're getting ready to retire. So what types of things are you looking forward to as well?
Some things that I have really tried to do as far as during the superintendency, I have made a conscious effort to stay connected to some of my girlfriends. They also are educators. We jokingly call ourselves the 1967 Club, and that's just because, as luck would have it, we were all born in the year 1967. But we make a conscious effort to get together, and we have a rule that we can only talk about work things for a very short period of time. And then after that, nothing can be discussed as far as any kind of work, and it's all personal. And I have just found that that network has been, it's been a joy for me. It's a source of joy. And, but my family, and then of course I do have some pretty fun hobbies that I enjoy as well. But I will tell you that I'm a bit fatigued, and I am planning to spend the first 6 months of my retirement kind of recovering from 10 years in the superintendent's position. And I do have 4 big trips planned already. And but then probably about January, I'll get bored and start looking for something part-time.
Well, you definitely deserve a break. You've earned it.
Thank you.
Dr. Hefner, to piggyback a little bit about longevity and your love of being a principal, as I serve as the principal at Trent Park Elementary as well. So my question to you is, what do you find are the biggest challenges right now in hiring highly qualified teachers? And as a follow-up to that, what strategies have you found to be successful in retaining and recruiting teachers in the climate that we're in right now?
Well, Ashley, you won't believe this, but we actually used a little bit of our ESSER money, and we offered a bonus to any employee who could make a reference to us as far as some referencing somebody to apply. And if we were able to hire the person and they stayed 6 months, they received half of the bonus. And then if they stayed a year, they received the full bonus. I never thought in 35 years that we would result
Mm.
to offering bonuses to people who were making employee referrals, but we have done that. It is definitely difficult. For the first time, we have had elementary teacher vacancies starting the school year, and that has just been unheard of. The pandemic was very hard for a lot of people, myself included. And what I have found is that when folks reach their 30 years or they get close enough to use sick leave and such to add to that experience to get them to their 30, they are deciding to leave. And it's just a demanding job. I don't think the General Assembly I don't think they've done us a lot of favors by taking away things such as master's pay. There is no incentive now to get a master's unless you are going into administration. And just some of those things, taking away their retirement. As you all know, in 2021, anybody hired after January 1st, they will not have retirement when they retire from the school system. And that's something that, I'm 56 years old and I will have state retirement until I qualify for Medicare. And that is a blessing. I talk to friends of mine and they're like, how in the world are you able to retire so early? We're having to work to pay for insurance. And when they understand that I have that benefit, they're so jealous. But again,
Mhm.
the General Assembly, they've taken that incentive away. And those things have made it very challenging to find quality folks who want to go into this work.
Yes, and you're exactly right. I too will be able to retire at 56, and I mean, a lot of people, that's why they stay in it. And you're exactly right, with not having that carrot to dangle, there's not a whole lot that to offer. So the bonus now that the ESSER funds are kind of at that cliff, is there any other strategies that you could suggest or give guidance on? For a fellow principal that's looking to bring in the most highly qualified, because not just a warm body, that's the challenge that we're facing right now, but a highly qualified individual.
Yes. Well, something that we've tried to do, Ashley, and we've made a lot of purposeful effort to grow our own. So we're kind of known in Alexander County to promote from within. So if anyone has a desire to pursue any type of leadership position, they know going in that we look within first. And if we don't find the right fit, then of course we consider someone from the outside. But we have really tried to build that leadership capacity. And I think that folks appreciate that. We use teachers, even if teachers have absolutely no desire to go into administration, we use them as mentors. And we do pay for mentors out of some Title II funding that we get and things of that nature. But really, that focus on just leadership capacity and continually, making the effort to make sure that people do have opportunities to grow and to lead, that has helped us a lot.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just want to congratulate you because I'm on the other side of that journey myself. And, it comes with a lot of mixed emotions, as I'm sure yours does as well. You stand in your office and you cry, or you look around the school and you're like, this has been my life. So having said that, and you've said some wonderful things already, I know that you've accomplished some great things in your tenure as superintendent in the Alexander County Schools. What initiative did you start that you are hoping they will continue implementing in your absence?
Well, I initiated some things as far as I was instrumental in writing the grant for the early college, and I feel certain that that will be sustained. We transitioned to a day program with our Student Success Center and built a new building, so I feel very comfortable about that. The things that have been mentioned in the budget crisis is to eliminate instructional coaches. I actually I didn't start that, but my intent was to have an instructional coach in every building throughout the system because we have 5 small elementary schools where there is absolutely no administrative help. The principal is the only administrator, and they carry very heavy loads. But I don't think our commissioners are as bought into instructional coaches as the folks in the system are, because if you talk to our principals, if they had to make a list of staff that they would be willing to give up, the instructional coach would not be on that list just because they are so instrumental in everything that we're doing as far as data, professional learning communities, and just working through those things. And we have been very successful in raising student achievement. And I credit those strong instructional leaders with helping us do that. So instructional coaches, I'm a little bit concerned about upon my departure, but I'm hopeful that the principals will have enough of a voice that they can share how much they value those people in those positions.
Thank you for that. And I've been, just listening to you through this entire interview. You are really telling some very strong truths about the direction that public education has taken in the last, several years. And I've watched over my almost 30 years. Yes. And it is disheartening. However, I still hear in your voice hope for education. And I just want to thank you for that. And thank you for all that you've done to serve as an educational leader in the state of North Carolina. We need people like you that are willing to stay in it and lead with wisdom and truth. You're a truth teller.
Well, I am, and sometimes that gets me in a little bit of trouble. Some people don't like
That's good trouble.
Well, some people don't like to hear the truth. And I have been very opposed to opportunity scholarships and the way that it is bleeding funding from public schools. And that has not won me some friends in some places, because we do have a private school here in Alexander where they are utilizing a lot of opportunity scholarships. And I just feel like that the General Assembly could do more to fully fund public education and not use that particular funding and give it to our competitors, so to speak. So sometimes I get into a little bit of trouble because politics and education, it's alive and well. And I am very passionate about public schools. I think that it's every child's best chance, and I know for a fact it is the very best opportunity around. And so I do advocate for public schools and for the children in Alexander County because they deserve the very best.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much.
So my question is, as a lead coordinator within my building, I work with all of our beginning teachers from year 0 all the way up into year 3 and sometimes 4 and 5 to help retain our teachers. What advice would you give to those beginning teachers that starting to lose that hope and starting to question if education is that right path for them? And I know classroom management is probably one of the biggest challenges that they face, but what advice would you give to them?
I would suggest that they create a network, just like I have done with the superintendency, because this is hard work. It's challenging work. It will drain you. And there are certain times in a school year where you're absolutely just worn out, and you're thinking to yourself, what on earth, why in the world do I keep doing this? October, for whatever reason, is a hard month, and February is a hard month. And if somehow if they can purposefully create a network of friends, of colleagues that they can get together with and just help encourage and support each other. I tell my girlfriends all the time, they're better than a dose of medicine for me. We laugh and we act silly, and we're not allowed to talk about work, but sometimes you need to talk about work. You need to talk through things. But we laugh and just have the best time together. And what I find is if one of us happens to be down or we're having a tough time, somebody else kind of sweeps in and they'll be that cheerleader. Come on, you can do this. And they'll just help and offer some sort of support and help. And I think that we all need that, not just beginning teachers, but some of us who are veterans as well. But we try to do that in Alexander. We meet monthly with our beginning teachers. And we have also, again, we've been able to spend Title II money, and we have contracted with Appalachian State for some help as far as mentors to come in, and they some of our teachers get a one-on-one coach, and they rave about that because they know they're not being evaluated. They know that they can tell them anything, and they will not be perceived as being weak if they're struggling with something. And it has just helped us a lot as far as being able to retain those beginning teachers.
Thank you.
And it's
And
not anything new. I would dare say all of the systems that we have represented here, that we're doing similar things. But again, just a network of friends and colleagues that can help you and be honest with you. That's something too that we promised each other when we started this club 20 plus years ago, is that we would be honest, even if it was brutal. And sometimes you just have to say, don't you dare click send on that email. You know that you're going to make a mistake. You delete it right now. That's inappropriate. And you need somebody that can talk you off the ledge.
Dr. Hefner, I know you crunch numbers all the time and look at numbers. There are a couple of things I want to point out. I actually found a directory from 2014 of superintendents, and only you're one of 10 superintendents who is still in your district 10 years later. You're one of 17 superintendents who's still in the superintendency. We've had some shifts, but only 17 are still serving as superintendents. In 2014, when you were named superintendent of Alexander County, you were one of 22 female superintendents, 19% of superintendents in our state. And now in 2024, you're one of 31 female superintendents, representing 27% of superintendents. What do you see as the current landscape for female superintendents here in North Carolina?
I will tell you that it's more challenging right now for a female superintendent than it was even in 2014. And that is because the political climate has changed. I have seen a very conservative movement. We are right here in the Bible Belt, and it was not funny, but it was ironic. We held focus group meetings to ask the parents and the community what they were looking for in their next superintendent. And it was reported back to me that one gentleman said that we had to have a man. And when asked, well, why in the world would why would we have to have a male in this role? His response was because females are weak and that they need to be feeding children from their breast and not in leadership positions. And so, here I am 10 years in a really what you would consider a CEO's position of the largest employer in the county. And to hear that thinking, that mentality, it's very discouraging. But couple that with, again, a very conservative political movement. I have felt it here in Alexander County. And I do think that it's more difficult right now for females than even in 2014.
Wow. And I know that you've been a proponent of female leadership. I mean, members of your senior leadership team, you have many females represented, serving in various roles from transportation director, curriculum, et cetera. I mean, you've just been such a champion for females. And
You know
you're
that I
evident.
have a 12 I have a 12-member leadership team. I'm one of the 12, okay? And some people call that their executive cabinet. They call it a variety of things. But my group, they wanted to be called a leadership team in 2014. So that's what we are. And out of the 12 members, 11 are females.
Mhm. And you all are producing great results.
We are. And what I have found is we're like-minded. We're not competitive. That's been the beauty in my position. None of my team, none of them have desired to be the superintendent. So we could work together, we be honest together. We all pull in the same direction, and we just don't have some of the backbiting that they probably have in other systems. And that's been a beautiful relationship with this team. And I do attribute our success to just having that great trusting relationship.
Absolutely. Other questions for Dr. Hefner?
I have one more question. We've talked about a lot this evening. We've talked about self-care. We've talked about retaining and recruiting teachers. We've talked about scores. We've talked about moving up the ladder. And so someone that had just had her evaluation conference today, and we talk about data. And we know that test scores are important, survey results are important, but what do you consider to be the most critical measure for success as a school principal?
I will tell you, Ashley, I've never been terribly zeroed in on proficiency. I'm very zeroed in, like laser focused on growth, because every child has the capability of growing. And I just think that if we are doing our jobs with effective instruction, if we are working through tier paperwork, and we are doing interventions and such the way that we are supposed to do those to meet the needs of children, that they will grow. And so for me, we use a lot of formative assessments throughout the year, and principals come in and they can talk about those things, whether it's an iReady test or whatever it is, and they can talk me through that. And so they're instructional leaders as well. But the growth, that is probably key for me and the thing that is most important. And again, what a conflict. We still have an 80-20 growth model, or excuse me, model where achievement is 80% of that and growth is only 20%. And again, talk about advocating for 10 years. I have said it at least needs to be 50-50. And in an ideal world, it would be even more geared toward growth. But that is probably number one for me. And close behind that is just satisfaction. And that satisfaction in the work that teachers are doing, it's student satisfaction and parent satisfaction. Because if we're not all trusting and happy with each other, we will not operate at an optimum level.
Can I get an amen with that? We definitely are, different types of schools with different demographics. Kids don't all come in proficient. And the school that I serve, we have over 30% ESL with refugees from 27 different birth nations, 17 different languages. That is hard to have that 80% proficiency always, but that growth, can we grow them? So that's very encouraging.
Yes. And do you know what I try to do, Ashley? In schools like your school that you mentioned, I try to give resources to that school, and I openly tell the principals, it's not about getting the exact same thing in every school, because every school is so very different. And the great thing is that they work so well together. They understand that school A has different needs than school B, and they understand when we go to looking at Title I funding and things of that nature, or if we have additional funds that we can funnel, like I said, ASU mentors to teachers and such, we do that based on the individual school.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Arish, do you have a question?
I did.
Okay. I knew you had a question, so I was waiting on it.
You can always tell. I just really taken it all in this evening, and not explicitly, but you talk a lot about what you do for your own social emotional well-being. And I'm just curious, is there anything in place in your district that you're helping students build that capacity at a young age? Because we don't just wake up and have it. These are coping skills that have to be developed all the while. So I'm just interested, did you have any initiatives in your district that are kind of focused on that?
We have had a variety of initiatives, and if I had to tell you exactly what we're doing at the moment, I don't remember the program, and I'm sorry. It has left me, but we've done several things as far as, but also in the strategic plan. At one time, we had 7 priorities, and we had had 6 in the strategic plan prior to that. The 7th one being totally focused on social emotional learning, not only for children, but also for staff. And this was before the pandemic. So we have a part of the strategic plan that addresses that. And we focus on it, like I said, pre-K through the early college, so that children understand that there are adults in buildings that are there for them and will help them. They are able to talk about issues in small groups as well as large groups. But as I said, again, it is part of the strategic plan here in Alexander. And we've seen an uptick. We see threat assessments and SLAP assessments. I get data on that every month as far as to try to track to see if those numbers are increasing or decreasing. And we just have a lot of support with social workers, counselors, nurses, and a variety of people in every school working together to try to really focus in on the needs, the not only the academic needs, but also those social emotional needs.
It makes so much sense that that would be a strategic priority for your district, because it seems very important to you and how you walk out your day-to-day duties and in your personal life as well.
Yes. And attendance, our attendance rates have not reached pre-pandemic levels, even since the pandemic has technically ended. And so attendance, that's also something that we keep a focus on, where we look at student and staff attendance monthly. And because if children and staff are not here, children can't be successful if they're not coming to school, and if their teachers are not in school, it's very hard for them to learn. So we really monitor that as well.
Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Dr. Hefner, what are you going to miss most as superintendent of Alexander County Schools?
The people. I am practicing a little bit. I think I emailed today that today was one of the days that I had to burn. I ended up with 17 days that you either use them or lose them. And I've tried to use them. So here I am at the end, and I technically will only be in the office 2 or 3 more days before I finish out. And it's so bittersweet because I love these people. I tell them I love them more than probably I should, but I love them so very much, and I assure them that I will miss them more than they will miss me.
I think they're going to miss you quite a bit, actually. Board members and everybody, before the search even started, they all acknowledged that they had really big shoes to fill. Last question, Dr. Hefner.
Yeah.
As superintendent of Alexander County Schools, I want you to finish this statement. As superintendent of Alexander County Schools, Dr. Jennifer Hefner was
A champion for children.
children first.
Absolutely.
And
I attribute my success to champions, and I have worked every day to be that same champion for children because I want them to live the dream that I have lived.
awesome. Thank you so much for being a champion for children, a great example for all of us. Dr. Hefner, you have so much to be commended for. We celebrate you and salute you.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to spend time with you this evening.
We really enjoyed it. We'd like to thank our audience so very much for watching our program. We hope that you will engage us on our social media platforms. Please like our Facebook page. Please follow us on Twitter at Tar Heel Teachers. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Visit our website, tarheelteachers.com. And on all of our social media platforms, please use our hashtag Tar Heel Teachers so we can find all of your great comments. We'd like to thank our wonderful group of co-hosts for joining us for this conversation: Ashley Falconberry, Monica Robbins, Tanya Smith, and Arisha Smalls. And once again, we'd like to thank our special guest for joining us, Dr. Jennifer Hefner, the long-standing superintendent for Alexander County Schools. She's been with the school system for over 35 years, and she served as superintendent for 10 of those years. How exceptional. We look forward to seeing you next time on Tar Heel Teachers at Home.